Today, the topic I was giving is the challenges and opportunities in preserving Muslim identity in the globalized world. I think this topic is really important for the Japanese Muslims living in Japan as well, because first of all, the Japanese Muslim, we are super minorities. Like it's not even like minorities. Like we are super minorities. Like we're just like 0.001% of the whole populations. But also in the same time, Japanese Muslim community is growing because especially if you visit like Tokyo or Nagoya or Osaka or the Fukuoka city, you can see like lots of second generation and third generation of Japanese Muslims. It says that in certain statistics, now the Japanese Muslims, the population of Japanese Muslim is now over like 100,000, and if you see the whole scale of the population, it's still super minorities, but in 100,000 is huge. But the majority is foreigners. But as I said, now we have like second generations. That means second generation means like we have like Indonesian Japanese, Malaysian Japanese, or Egyptian Japanese, or Palestinian Japanese. Like not like Japanese like me. Like now, the Japanese Muslim communities are starting to enjoy like diversities. But also in the same time, Japanese government is now trying to open for the immigrations, and some of the right wings, and nationalists in Japan, they're really scared. 왠지 테크놀로지 가봤으냐, 무척ses. And now, like lots of second generation, third generations are like the amid in some called like Islamophobia or like xenophobia in Japanese societies. Like they're entering like an identity crisis, and they don't know how to like place themselves in like Japanese societies or in the like globalized ummah in the proper way. So as the academicians like working in the universities, I'm also like writing books, or I'm also writing an article about like Islam, or to introduce Islam. But in the end, like I have started to think that this academic like work and academic inquiries, like it has like limited impact, because how many people going to universities, and how many people like reading books, and let alone for articles, and these professors like even including me, they're boring. Like, just only like giving lectures. And the students just listen, and that's it. And the students remain passive. So, like for the last like 1 or 2 years, I have started like a new project. It's called like imagining like a Japanese Islamic culture, like the imagining like a Japanese like Islamic like a culture. That it means like now, if you study like history of Islamization in Islamic civilization. Usually it takes at least like 300 or 400 years for the resident who live in the Islamic empire to embrace Islam. Because in the case of like Malaya or Indonesia, or in the case of Turkey, in the case of Arab, like usually when after the conquest of the Islamic empire, that usually at least it takes like 300 years for the resident, more than half of the resident embrace Islam. But now since we're living in a globalized world, like there are some Muslims that who are, how can I say, they cannot wait this like a gradual gradual Islamization of local societies, and they don't know how to like contact with local citizens. And also they think that that being like Islam or like being like a good like a Muslim is trying to find like un-Islamic like element in the like non-Muslim local societies, and if they can eliminate those elements, then they will think the people living there will embrace Islam without any like condition. But historically, it would never happen. Like of course, like Islam is a religion. That Islam is a religion. It means like the Islam religion itself must not like compromise with other like non-Islamic element. But if you see the cultural like phenomenon, if you see the Islamic like cultures, like they always have kind of, in Japanese we call tanryoku. Tanryoku means like jasaret. In Turkey, jasaret. It means like the courage to like interact with like a non-Muslim society, and they will exchange like a kind of values and try to create like something new. And this one article, which is written by the Omar Farooq Abdullah, he's like famous like a Da'i in America, and the name of the article is called Islam and the Cultural Imperative, or the Muslim, no, I think Islam and the Cultural Imperative. And in the introduction of this article, that he said that Islam itself is like a crystal like a river, that it has no color. It just like it gives the one clear like vision. And when the Islam reaches like a non-Muslim like a local soil, it reflects the color of the locality. So that's why for example, now I see lots of like Muslim brothers and sisters come from like different countries. But when the Muslim come from Malaysia, they wear like a Malay like Islamic clothes. And when their brothers and sisters come from Indonesia, they have their own cultures. And so that's Turkey, and also in our countries like Egypt or Syria or the Philistines as well. And I think Japan is also saying, like I have been Muslim for 15 years, I became Muslim in Egypt, and I and when I was young, I thought becoming Muslim is like not only about reading Quran Hadith, but I thought that the becoming Muslim is like eliminating like my like Islamic like culture and try to follow so-called like Islamic culture from outside. Like, do you know Galabeya, Jalabeya? The traditional clothes in Egypt. Because when I became Muslim in Egypt, and after Shahada, I immediately bought like the black Galabeya because it looks so cool. When Egyptians wear Galabeya, like they look like a samurai. And it's so cool. But then when I wear the Galabeya, then I look like CIA agent who try to like to pretend that I'm trying to like enter in Egyptian societies. And when I visit Malaysia and Indonesia, do you know batik? Batik is a traditional like Malay like a clothes. That it looks so beautiful when the Malay or Indonesian brother and sister wear this batik. But when I wear, I look at American tourist. Like that is the point I realized. Like becoming Muslim is not about like trying to become like a Malay or trying to become like Egyptian, trying to become Australian. Like we Japanese ourselves have our own like method, our own or like process to digest, the taste of Tawheed. So right now, I have started like designing so-called Japanese Islamic hanging scroll. It's like arty craft to introduce like Islamic like vision or Islamic aesthetics to like Japanese audiences. Can you see this? Okay. So this is one I have designed. This is classical Chinese, and this is a Chinese translation of the Kalimat al-Shahada, like La ilaha and Illallah. And I wrote Arabic here as well. That if you see horizontally, you can read La ilaha and Illallah. Like, do you know Jujutsu Kaisen? Japanese anime. Like this font, it looks like Jujutsu Kaisen. but I studied this like the calligraphy from the ancient Chinese calligraphy, and I redesigned it in this like hanging scroll format. But this calligraphy, I copied it from the classical Chinese Islamic textbook. Classical Chinese Islamic textbook. It's called like Han Kitab. Han Kitab. So I don't know here we have like a Chinese Muslim brothers or sisters, but the history of the Chinese Islam is much like older than we imagine, because the first of the Sahaba, this is kind of a legend, but one of the Sahaba had reached the land of China in either late 7th century or the early 8th century. In either late 7th century or early 8th century. And the oldest masjid in China was built in either like early 8th century. So in that regard, actually the Chinese Islamic history has more than 1,000 years, like more than 1,000 years. But yet, that we, people who live in the global Ummah, like we are now somehow in the collective amnesia. That we forgot this rich tradition. So, that when I designed this in the hanging scroll, and when I organized some like in the workshop in Japan, in the universities or other like local like masjid or the NGO, not only like introducing like Japanese like art, I'm trying to introduce the history of Islam in China to like non-Muslim Japanese audiences. Yeah, sure. So, and this is not Chinese character, but this is one I have a design. This is Alif. sure everyone knows this alif. And this flower is called higambana. Higambana. Higam means akhira, and bana means like zahra, the flower. The flower of the akhira. But this higambana was usually enjoyed by the Buddhists, like monks, or all the Buddhists, to try to remember the existence of akhira. But this the akhira is according to the Buddhist the Buddhist understandings. But we Japanese, in the end, this flower exists everywhere in Japanese societies. But it doesn't mean that this is like a haram flower, because this is enjoyed by the Buddhists. I call this process as semantic reconstruction, semantic reconstruction. It means like Indian flower is like a flower. For example, like Turkish audiences, when they see a flower, they might remember the poem. Are there any Turkish students here? Sordum sarı çiçeği diye şarkı biliyor musunuz ya? Sordum sarı çiçeği, bu Yunus Emre aşkı Emre sanırım. For example, if Turkish students might see this flower, they might remember the song, traditional like Turkish poem about the flower. When the Buddhists saw this flower, they might remember the nirvana, according to the Buddhist understanding. Then, when the Japanese see this flower, we might be able to have our own method to remember our own word view. So that's why I put the alif next to this flower, and this alif is a symbol of the Allah, according to traditional Islamic calligraphy. So this is and not only using Japanese aesthetic, I also take inspiration from the Ottoman Turkish calligraphy. This is the Arabic alphabet, but actually this is Turkish. Bener? Gel, gör, beni, aşk, neyledi? Gel, gör, beni, aşk, neyledi? It means like come and see what have divine love made me into another, brought me into another level. Okay. So this poem talks about divine love, aşk, the taste of the aşk. But the reason why I have designed this hanging scroll is that since I studied Ottoman Tasawwuf when I went PhD program, and I love the Ottoman Turkish cultures, but I have found that even in Turkish societies, I think there are so few people who can read Ottoman Turkish, Turkish language written in Arabic alphabet. Yes, of course, modern Turkish alphabet is also cool, Latin alphabet. It has advantage, but also the Turkish language written in Arabic alphabet has also another kind of taste, other kind of beauty. And this and this Ottoman Turkish has more than 500 years of history. And this is cool. In Japanese we call it kakkoi. Kakkoi cool. It means cool. Then especially when we talk about the unities of Ummah, or I don't know, the importance of solidarities of the Islamic tradition, we always talk about what is right about Islam, or what is right about Muslim communities. But also in the same time, I think it's really important to remember how cool the Islamic culture is, how kakkoi the Islamic civilization is, because this is how I love and I always remember one hadith. It's called تحدث الناس على قدر عقولهم وحدث الناس بما يعرفون. It means talk to the people according to the level of akhl. Not and Islamic knowledges or the Islamic sciences or Roman Islamia, Islamic ilm. This is not only for the elite, and let alone for Islamic culture. Islamic culture is in Tasawwuf we call khawas al-khawas and khawas and awam, and the taste of Islam is for everyone. Not only for the khawas or the khawas, elite of the elite. Even the awam have their own, their process to digest the taste of Islam. So this is why I have started this Japanese Islamic art project. And another one is this is so small, which I'm sure you cannot see. I have designed the tea container, which is used in traditional tea ceremony in Japan. And here is also written Arabic a calligraphy. If you want to see, you can just come here after this program. This is the collaboration project of the traditional artisan living in Japan in Kyoto. So I visited him privately, and I explained him how important to design our own and what means Muslim handicraft for not only for the Muslim community but for Japanese society in general, and he loved my project, so that's why I have been working him for more than like 2 years. And some people, even like a Muslim, like tease me like this is like a waste of time and money to designing like handicraft thing because this is really expensive. Actually, this is really expensive. And people advise me, why don't you buy like a cheaper like a plate or like a container in like IKEA or like Zara Home or LC Waikiki Home or somewhere. But the genocide in Palestine has been going on for more than 4 months. Actually, not even 4 months. Actually, it had been for more than 80 years. And now we are all boycotting like Israeli product, right? And this is what I have been talking about. Like, we can buy like cheaper product in either IKEA or even in Amazon or somewhere. But in the end, if we pay money to those different products, where the money goes? Where the money goes. And when I'm designing, yes, this is expensive in handicraft, but right now, even Japanese, they go into like in IKEA when other like the like Western like global like companies global like shop, and they're buying furniture. But this is why now in Japan, this traditional technique, traditional handicraft, is now about to extinct, and I'm asking to not only the Muslim audiences but also Japanese audiences, which one is a more humane thing to do? Which one is more like believes in humanity? Like going to IKEA and buy the product and letting this Israeli company to donate on Israel, or they're working with the local local people and show the respect to like a local culture. Like which one is a more Muslim way to live? Now I believe the latter is more like a Muslim way to do. So this is why I'm investing on this like a local like economy, like rather than just because in the end, the boycotting is just like boycotting. It means like just like not giving your money to like Israeli companies. But do you remember the Kalimat al-Shahada? Kalimat al-Shahada is like La ilaha illa Allah. La ilaha and illa Allah. It means like Nahil and Isbat. Like Nahil and Isbat. Like boycotting is like a Nahil. That we are like just like it's just a negation. But what makes us like Muslim is the Isbat, confirmation. So boycotting is just one step. It's really important. But what's more important is that investing on like a local community, like investing on local community and stand with the Muslim. Supporting the Muslim. Like even the art. Right now, the Western American like art is like occupied by the Western liberals, and this is how this is how the Zionist, the economy like becomes so strong. Then we Muslim we should also create like organic like a strong like ecosystem, like not only just like talking things like lecturing thing, but just like investing on like a local like art, economy, and education. And this is how we can become like really like independent like figure. And another project is that now I have, as I said, now we have like lots of like second generation and third generation like Muslim children in Japan, and I think now we are entering the stage that what would be like a Japanese like a local madrasa should be, like not just like visiting like a mosque and praying like a Friday prayer, but what would be like a local like indigenous like a Japanese education should be. So that's why we have been like observing like a traditional like Ottoman madrasa curriculum and also like a Nizami curriculum in the subcontinent, and try to see how we can like observe like a beauty of the traditional education. But another thing is that, do you know Okçular Tekkesi in Turkey? So before the modernization, this tekke is not only for like doing zikr or like listening the sohbah of the shuyukh. In Istanbul, so tekke means zawiya, Sufi lodges. In Istanbul, there was like Okçular Tekkesi. It means like tekke Sufi lodges for the archery, the archery. And before the modernization, during the Ottoman Empire, this archery and also güreş, traditional like wrestling were taught for Muslim children to build upon for the beden eğitim, the education, to get like a strong body, but not only for the body. And this is not like only for martial art. They're trying to get trying to not only physically like strong, but also like mentally strong. And in Japan as well, this archery and wrestling, we have the Japanese wrestling called jujutsu. I'm sure there are lots of jujutsu schools even in America and the UK and also other countries. But Japan is also like a land with martial arts. So I was imagining like not only like giving like orumure akliya or like just like giving the lectures, we should also revive this martial arts tekke tradition, like a tekke, like the martial education in like a tekkes. So, よいしょ。あ、内田君。はい。He's my Japanese student. So I have started to teach this Japanese swordsmanship to my like Muslim students. Oh. はい。するか。ああ、怖い。はい。よいしょ。Dedim, bu ses geliyor.
Kapatalım dur.
Tamam. Ah, çok teşekkür ederim hocam. So I have like this sword master in Japan, and I have getting this education. And now I study. Do you know Shinkageryu? Shinkageryu is a little bit detailed, but Shin means new. Why you all taking pictures? Shinkageryu, and I'm studying Shinkageryu, and today, so I'm gonna show. So I'm gonna tell the why it could be useful for the spiritual education for the Muslim student. First of all, before beginning this in practice, so that I. よろしくお願いします。In this way, first, in Turkish we call selamlaşma. It means like we bow each other. But so suppose that he's students and I'm a master. Actually, I'm not a master, but just suppose that I'm a master. Right? Not only for the students to the teacher, but also teacher should thank to the students. So this is how traditional education was. It's also the same in the traditional Islamic education, because without the students, there was also no master. Like imagine like traditional like ijaza or like a madrasa system. Like the alim, the ulama cannot exist or cannot consider as ulama without the students, because there is no kind of like a modern like diploma. Because like, in modern education, if you have like a PhD diploma or master diploma, whenever you go, you're a doctor. But in traditional Islamic education, like if you don't have the students, like a tumlab, talib, and if you go to the other countries, you're just nobody. Like this serving the students makes the people like a teacher.